Power within. The power within. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, hi guys, it's Burton and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. I hope you're having a good day so far and you're doing your best to social distance and stay healthy and stay safe. And if you live in the country that I do, I hope that, you're doing alright with the whole tropical storm, possibly hurricane situation. It's kind of serious, but I pray for the best. It's been a weird year. But today I'm going to be attempting candle making. I wanted to call this quarantine cooking, but I'm not actually cooking, not in the slightest. So this is just a home project that you could do if you're home and you're bored, but you have the ingredients. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a leftover candle that I had. You know when you have a candle too long and you use it and it's like this tall? I'm going to take that, I'm going to remelt it, and then I'm going to mix it with the dust of a coconut. So if you ever tried to open up a coconut, specifically a dry coconut, there's a lot of dust that flies around, and I just happen to have some collected. Don't ask me why, but I have some collected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I could turn that into a candle. The reason behind this was I was bored, and I noticed that coconut, the dusk or the husk, whatever you want to call it, it burns away very quickly. But just like the wick on a candle, if it's surrounded by the wax, it's not going to burn away as quickly. So I'm just going to test that out and see how that's going to go. The candle. So this is the candle I'm going to be using. Yeah, it's basically empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this and fill this with boiling hot water, and what's going to happen is the wax is going to melt, bubble up to the top, and solidify there as the water cools down. But before it solidifies, I'm going to just try to scrape it off the water and pour it onto the coconut husk. There's two ways you could go about doing this, but that's the method that I chose for this video. So let's get into it. These are all the ingredients that you're going to need for the candle. You're going to need an old candle or just a solid candle, and you're going to need some coconut husk. Specifically dry coconut husk, because the dry coconut husk has the dust in it. So when you take it apart, like as you separate the strands, it creates this kind of dust. It leaves this kind of dusty thing behind. It's very, that right there. That is what we're going to be using as our candle wick. So what you're going to do is you're going to separate the husk, like the strands itself, separate the strands itself, and the dust is going to leave itself behind. You might need to use your nails and like scrape it off of the strands. Yeah, you might need to do that. Just don't get it caught in your nails, because that's annoying. It's an annoying feeling. So after you do that, after you separated it enough, you're going to end up with this. And this is the dust that we're going to be using as basically our candle wick. Like how every candle has a wick, that black thing. Yeah, this is going to be our candle wick. And the melted wax, so after we put boiling water in this, is going to soak up the hot wax and kind of become like a sponge, and it's going to make it really flammable. But coconut husk on its own burns away fairly quickly, but after it soaks up the candle wax, it makes it very flammable and I guess heat resistant. That's the term. Heat resistant. So we're gonna go first with filling up the container with boiling hot water. It's important that it's boiling. Okay, so this is it. And now we wait. Okay, so this is about 12-13 minutes later, and it's clumped up to the top. I had to mix it a little bit just to get it loose, and this is what it's looking like. So I think I'm just gonna let this sit a little bit longer, just to be sure, because I mean it's only been like 12-13 minutes, so I'll let it sit a little bit longer, and the water is still pretty hot. So I'll leave it and see if it's gonna melt anymore. But while we wait, I just want to say, I think this is a great idea for like if current goes off, or maybe if your electricity isn't off and you just want to light up a room, like with a nightlight. This would be a cool idea for that. If you're camping and you want to use this outside, this would be great for that. I think the more husk you use, the bigger the fire is going to be. So yeah, just want to point that out there. Okay, so it doesn't look like this is getting any more liquid, so I'm just gonna dump it on the coconut husk now. And guess what I'm using as a candle holder? Surprise, surprise, a coconut shell. So we're just gonna add that on and see how it goes. Okay, no, I don't like this method. It's clumping up too much. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use the second method, put the candle back inside the container, and then let the container sit in some hot water so that it can melt completely, and that should be it. Okay, now that's better. So this is it, looking how it's looking. Guys, we had a slight change of plans. Let me show you what I did. I didn't like how it looked before, how it was all clumped up in the previous clip. So what I did was I just took the husk out and I melted it one more time to make sure that it was really melted, and it was the wax was soaked into the husk itself. Also, I let it sit overnight to make sure that it's completely dry. I let it sit out in the sun to make sure that it was completely dry, and if there was any water in it, it would have evaporated. And this is what I ended up with. So all that's left to do is just set it on fire and see how it sets. But before I do that, I wanted to share some fun facts with you. So, okay, fun fact, if you ever wanted to use coconut husk for anything else, you could use it it acts as a great soil replacement. So if you wanted to plant plants in just raw coconut husk, you can. There's a few good reasons why you should. One, it's very it retains water very well, so you wouldn't have to water the plants as much. You could also mix it with soil to make the soil mixture a little bit more water resistant. Because it's not soil, it's not going to have the same bacteria or fungal growth as soil would. Also, you can't even really see it. Also, you wouldn't have any soil-borne pests inside of the coconut husk because it's not soil. But unfortunately, because it's not soil, it doesn't have the same nutrients. So you might have to add a fertilizer or something else to it. Also, coconut husk is very airy, like it's like a sponge. So it retains water as well as it aerates the soil that you put into it. Or if you just plant something strictly in the coconut husk by itself, it's going to aerate the roots and promote oxygen flow. So try it out. Okay, so I'm in a very dark room right now. I want to light it on fire. I want to set the candle on fire to see how well it lights up a completely dark room. So let's try it out. Okay. Okay, we have something. And it is on fire. Okay. And this is it in the day. This is awesome. Whoa. So this is it. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. This is something that I have tried before. This is my first attempt at doing it, and it worked perfectly. This one is more separated, and that's because when I had this idea originally, I wanted it to be a fire starter, and indeed It is a fire starter. So if you ever wanted to use this as a fire starter, just take the pieces, crack them up into smaller pieces, and then light them ablaze. But anyway, thanks you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you try this, don't burn your house down. Do this with adult supervision, seriously. I wouldn't say it's toxic. It doesn't have a toxic smell, but do this outside if you're going to try it. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoy it. Later. Seriously though, this could really be coal. I think I just made coal. Wow.